They call them fun boys. They'll say, we gotta have some fun boys in the section for Busta.
What about Busta Rhymes? I've definitely seen quite a few people not too happy about your story about Busta Rhymes.
Ain't nobody saying nothing to me.
Model dude, like a model guy. He be doing like some rapping and stuff. His name Don Benjamin. I'm out with Don Benjamin. And the club we ended up going to, Busta Rhymes in there.
If Busta ever try to front on me, hit you with no delay. So what you saying, yo? Silly with that 9 milli, what the deal, yo? Yeah, I do his better than him. He better not play with me. I will and perform Busta Rhymes show. Look, man, if they try to say that if you ever thought that the Busta Rhymes was better than me, you crazy.
Busta out here taking shots from all angles. Everybody got something to say, and it's getting messier by the minute. A piece of footage allegedly shared by 50 Cent has reignited a long-dormant controversy involving rap icon Busta Rhymes and troubled former child star Orlando Brown. The video, which many claim shows a violent confrontation between the two men, has sparked an avalanche of commentary, speculation, and renewed scrutiny of past allegations that had previously been dismissed as baseless or too outrageous to be true. For years, Orlando Brown has made shocking claims about various figures in the entertainment industry, statements that were often chalked up to his erratic behavior, substance issues, or mental health struggles. But now, with visual evidence potentially backing one of his more explosive stories, the public is being forced to reconsider. While details of the clip remain murky, and neither party has offered official statements to confirm or deny its authenticity, the incident has opened a Pandora's box of unresolved tensions and historical whispers that have long followed Busta Rhymes. This isn't merely a celebrity squabble or viral moment. It appears to be the flashpoint in a larger narrative about secrets, image control, and the silencing of inconvenient voices within the entertainment industry. The implications stretch beyond personal beef, raising uncomfortable questions about who gets believed, who gets buried, and what happens when truth and reputation collide. And as this story unfolds, many are left wondering, has Orlando Brown been trying to tell us the truth all along? Only no one was ready to hear it? The controversy was reignited when 50 Cent, known for his unfiltered online presence and taste for public feuds, posted what he claimed was a leaked video depicting a heated altercation between Busta Rhymes and Orlando Brown. Though the quality of the footage left many details open to interpretation, viewers quickly dissected the clip frame by frame, convinced they were witnessing something far more serious than just a shouting match. The post, initially masked in humor with one of 50's signature trolling captions, rapidly picked up traction across social media platforms. But beneath the surface-level memes and comment-section jokes, a more intense conversation began to take shape, one that questioned the true nature of the incident and what it might confirm about Busta Rhymes' private conduct. Longtime fans were shocked, and even some within the music industry responded with cryptic remarks, suggesting that this wasn't just a random flare-up. The clip, though brief, seemed to validate certain stories that had circulated quietly for years, always denied, always brushed off. Suddenly, Orlando Brown, once ridiculed for his wild interviews and unpredictable behavior, was no longer being dismissed so quickly. The internet began drawing lines between his old claims and the newly surfaced footage, and a growing number of voices began asking, what if the most unbelievable parts of Orlando's story weren't fabrications, but revelations? And if that's the case, what else has the public missed by choosing laughter over investigation? As more attention shifted toward Busta Rhymes following the leaked video, long-standing allegations from behind the scenes began to resurface. This time, with a disturbing consistency that was hard to ignore. At the center of these claims is a former bodyguard known as Big Homie CC, who alleged that for over a decade, Busta routinely gave instructions to club promoters to recruit attractive young men exclusively for his VIP sections. According to CC and others close to the inner workings of the industry, this wasn't a one-time occurrence, but a well-known pattern among those who worked in nightlife, security, and event planning These reports describe private rooms with tightly controlled access, often described as boys-only zones, where Busta reportedly preferred the company of hand-picked male guests. While the surface image remained that of a hardened hip-hop icon, the private arrangements painted a different picture, one that many in the industry allegedly knew about, but chose not to address publicly. These recurring setups, paired with whispers from ex-associates, raised questions about power dynamics, manipulation, and the double life that some celebrities might be living behind velvet ropes and closed doors. While no formal accusations have been pursued in court, the consistency of these stories, echoed by multiple sources over time, has now collided with the public narrative, forcing fans and critics alike to reassess what they thought they knew about Busta Rhymes. And as more former insiders step forward, the question becomes, how deep does this pattern really go? And how long has it been hidden in plain sight? The resurfacing of allegations about Busta Rhymes' private preferences has also drawn attention back to his long-documented history of aggression and volatile behavior in public spaces, a pattern that adds a layer of tension to the already controversial claims. In 2006, Busta made headlines after allegedly using homophobic slurs against a fan at a Miami restaurant, an incident that was widely reported, yet quickly faded from mainstream conversation. Around the same time, his vehicle was pulled over by authorities, and a machete was reportedly found inside, raising eyebrows but resulting in no lasting legal repercussions. In subsequent years, Busta was sued by a concert-goer who claimed the rapper attacked him without provocation, while other witnesses have recalled instances where he verbally abused fans and staff at public events. The overarching theme across these stories is a portrayal of a man who often straddled the line between fame-fueled bravado and outright intimidation. Critics argue that his celebrity status helped insulate him from serious consequences, while supporters insist he was simply a product of a high-pressure industry that demands constant self-defense. Still, in light of the recent video leak and emerging testimony from former insiders, these incidents take on new meaning, painting a picture of someone with a long-standing pattern of dominating situations through fear, secrecy, and force. The accumulation of these reports now presents a troubling context, one where past outbursts might not have been isolated missteps, but rather pieces of a larger behavioral puzzle that's finally being assembled in public view. For years, Orlando Brown has been treated as the industry's cautionary tale, a once promising child star turned tabloid spectacle whose increasingly erratic behavior and bizarre interviews made him the subject of memes, ridicule, and public concern. But now, in the wake of new evidence and reevaluated narratives, a growing number of people are beginning to question whether some of the outrageous claims he's made were more than just delusions or drug-fueled ramblings. Orlando has publicly alleged intimate encounters with several powerful figures in the music industry, including Busta Rhymes, Diddy, Bow Wow, and Drake, claims that were initially laughed off or dismissed entirely. However, as real accusations and investigations now swirl around some of those same individuals, his once dismissed statements are being re-examined through a different lens. Some believe that Orlando may have been strategically hiding the truth in plain sight, using shock value and comedic delivery as a form of coded disclosure, what some call plausible deniability wrapped in chaos. While his personal struggles with addiction and mental health are undeniable, they may have also served as a protective layer, allowing him to speak on industry trauma without being taken seriously enough to face real retaliation. In that light, the public is now faced with an uncomfortable possibility that Orlando Brown, in all his volatility, might have been trying to expose a darker reality all along. And if even one of his stories checks out, the entire entertainment world may have to reconsider who we call crazy and who we protect under the guise of success. As attention around Busta Rhymes continues to grow, the spotlight inevitably drifts toward one of his closest longtime associates, Sean Diddy Combs, whose own empire is now under scrutiny amid federal investigations and multiple lawsuits. The ties between Busta and Diddy go back decades, bonded by overlapping circles in the music and nightlife industries, and stories about their joint appearances at exclusive, heavily guarded parties have lingered in the background of hip-hop gossip for years. Former radio host Wendy Williams, known for dropping uncomfortable truths cloaked in innuendo, once suggested that both men were involved in secretive, potentially coercive behind-the-scenes behavior. While those claims were largely brushed aside at the time, they've aged differently now that Diddy is facing mounting legal troubles and public allegations that echo those very suspicions. Interestingly, just as pressure mounts on Diddy, Busta has begun to quietly distance himself, limiting public appearances with the mogul, removing collaborative posts, and noticeably omitting his name in recent interviews. Industry insiders suggest that this isn't mere coincidence, but a calculated move to protect one's brand as the walls close in around a former ally. The timing of Busta's separation from Diddy, especially in the context of renewed whispers about VIP parties, power games, and suppressed scandals, has added fuel to the theory that both men may have more to hide than anyone suspected. If the public is only now catching glimpses of what's been protected for decades, then the question becomes, is this a slow unraveling of a powerful brotherhood, or the beginning of a much larger reckoning? In the ever-shifting dynamics of the hip-hop world, few figures have mastered the art of weaponized trolling quite like Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. Known as much for his calculated provocations as for his musical legacy, 50 has long positioned himself as both entertainer and agitator, never hesitating to stir controversy when it suits his purpose. In this case, his decision to publicly post the alleged footage of Busta Rhymes and Orlando Brown, accompanied by mocking captions and old, unflattering images of Busta, initially came off as classic 50, sharp-tongued, humorous, and designed for maximum virality. But underneath the humor was something more strategic. By reviving buried rumors and pushing sensitive narratives into the spotlight, 50 managed to do what formal media rarely attempts in celebrity culture: force uncomfortable conversations into public discourse. His trolling didn't just reignite beef, it reopened doors that powerful figures had worked hard to keep shut. While critics might accuse him of clout chasing, others argue that 50 has used his persona to hold up a mirror to the industry, calling out double standards, hidden behaviors, and silent complicity through satire and spectacle. His involvement in this latest scandal may have seemed playful on the surface, but for those paying attention, it was an orchestrated disruption, one that peeled back layers of image management and re-exposed a history many hoped had been forgotten. Whether intentional or incidental, 50 Cent has once again become the unlikely whistleblower in a story the public can no longer ignore. As the layers continue to peel back, what emerges is not just a collection of rumors or isolated controversies, but a deeply entrenched culture of silence within the entertainment industry, one built on power, intimidation, and carefully maintained public personas. Behind the flashing lights and curated images lies a system where certain behaviors are quietly accepted, where loyalty is rewarded, and where speaking out can come at a devastating cost. Insiders know that some doors remain shut for a reason, and for years, that unspoken understanding has protected celebrities like Busta Rhymes and Diddy from public accountability. This culture doesn't just shield individuals, it shapes the entire narrative of the industry, where victims often lack the platform or credibility to be heard, and where those who do speak up are swiftly branded as unstable, bitter, or attention-seeking. Orlando Brown's situation is a textbook example. His past struggles were used as a blanket excuse to ignore his words, no matter how consistent or pointed his claims were. But the emerging pattern shows a disturbing truth. When the same names keep surfacing, and when their alleged actions are echoed by unrelated sources over time, it becomes harder to argue coincidence. The silence hasn't just been enforced, it's been incentivized, embedded in contracts, friendships, and careers that rely on discretion over disclosure. As more people begin to break away from that norm, whether through leaks, lawsuits, or viral moments, the question becomes whether this culture can survive the spotlight. And if it can't, what else is poised to come crashing down with it? In a move that blurred the lines between humor and hostility, 50 Cent recently promoted an upcoming comedy festival appearance that would feature both himself and Busta Rhymes, sharing old, humiliating images of Busta alongside sarcastic captions. To the casual observer, it was just another instance of 50's infamous trolling, a jab among celebrities with a history of ribbing each other. But to those following the larger story, the timing felt calculated and the implications hard to ignore. Comedy has long served as a tool for deflection in the entertainment world, a way to discuss uncomfortable truths under the protective guise of entertainment. By mocking Busta in the wake of resurfaced allegations and leaked footage, 50 wasn't just cracking jokes, he was applying pressure, dragging private conversations into the public space with a smirk. These moments are often dismissed as harmless publicity stunts, but in reality, they expose simmering tensions that go far deeper than surface-level banter. For someone like Busta, whose public persona relies on control and strength, being ridiculed in this way, especially by someone with 50's reach and reputation, threatens not just ego, but brand integrity. And in the broader cultural context, it highlights how comedy is often used as a soft entry point for serious accusations, a Trojan horse for critique that bypasses formal accountability. As the crowd laughs, the truth slips through. But this time, the stakes are too high to ignore. What starts as a punchline might end as a public reckoning, and the tension between performance and reality has never been more fragile. As the dust begins to settle around the leaked footage, social media firestorms, and resurfaced allegations, what remains is a lingering sense of unease, a recognition that this story may not be an outlier, but a symptom of something much deeper festering beneath the glossy surface of the music industry. The convergence of Orlando Brown's erratic truth-telling, Busta Rhymes' long history of aggressive behavior, and the shadowy involvement of figures like Diddy hints at a larger systemic problem, one where fame functions as both shield and sword, protecting the powerful while silencing the vulnerable. The entertainment world thrives on narrative control, and for decades it succeeded in painting sanitized portraits of celebrities while hiding uncomfortable realities in the fine print of NDAs and behind VIP curtains. But as platforms grow decentralized and truth becomes harder to suppress, those old walls are beginning to crack. What started with a single leaked clip might just be the tipping point for a broader wave of exposure where the voices that were once drowned out by laughter, doubt, or legal threats are now being heard, loud and clear. The consequences of this unraveling remain uncertain. Reputations will be shattered, loyalties tested, and long-standing relationships fractured. But perhaps the most urgent question we're left with isn't about any single artist or incident. It's about the audience. Now that the curtain has been pulled back, what do we do with what we've seen? And how many more stories, buried under layers of silence and shame, are waiting to surface the moment someone dares to speak? If even half of this is true, it changes everything. What do you think? Is Orlando Brown finally being heard? Or is this all smoke and mirrors? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. And if you want the truth the mainstream won't tell you, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell. We're just getting started.